ready and willing to fail, because most of the time you fail. And nobody wants to hear that. But the stats bear this out, right? What is the one reason a startup fails?
Running out of money.
That's it. It's the only one. It's the only one. So you need to solve a pain point for someone who can afford to pay you. I always say it'd be great to solve world hunger, and that's great for the Gates Foundation to do. It's not a good startup play, because the reason there is world hunger is people can't afford the food. So we've already seen the first one-person company, one person and AI, get sold for $80 million that just started a year ago. So we're going to see more of that. And I am sure we're going to see the AI billionaire, meaning that it's one person in their basement and they get sold for $1 billion and they never raised any money, and they did it all with themselves and AI.
Welcome to the Entrepreneur Podcast, filled with marketing and leadership tips on launching and growing your business, with your host, Deanne Mora.
Today on the podcast, I'm excited to welcome Silicon Valley innovator, serial entrepreneur, CEO, and futurist Kevin Surace. Kevin was Inc. Magazine's Entrepreneur of the Year, a CNBC Top Innovator of the Decade, and I could go on. Holds 94 worldwide patents, including for the first cellular data smartphone, the first human-like AI virtual assistant, and generative AI for QA automation. So Kevin, clearly you're an overachiever, but let's start with your backstory. So you say that you were born to be an entrepreneur. Tell me more about that.
Well, I don't know that everyone is born to be an entrepreneur. And this is a question that comes up, right? Are you born to be an entrepreneur? Can you learn to be an entrepreneur? What I'd say is, if you really want to be an entrepreneur, a couple of things are important. One, are you ready and willing to fail? Because most of the time you fail. And nobody wants to hear that. But the stats bear this out, right? If you look at the number of companies that start kind of in the friends and family, raise a tiny little bit of money and try to, only about 1 out of 1,000 of those ends up successful. And it's 1 out of 100 when you raise some seed capital, and it's 1 out of 10 when you raise tens of millions of dollars of VC capital. And still, it's only 1 out of 10 that makes any real success out of it, right? So those stats are pretty staggering. So you cannot, and everybody, of course, enters in and says, well, I'm not going to be one, I'm going to be the 1 in 1,000. And my chances are better. And yes, it's because, there's a bell curve to IQ, and everyone that I've ever met thinks they're on the right side of that bell curve, somewhere between 150 and 200, but it doesn't work that way. Okay. The average human in, at least in the West anyway, which that bell curve is based on, is around 100. That's why it's 100 is in the middle. And there's people who go up to the right. So everybody always thinks that and we all think, well, I've got more intestinal fortitude. I've got more. So be ready to lose, because your first business plan will be wrong. The first, second, third, maybe fifth company might not make it. You don't read about those in the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times. You read about Musk and Zuckerberg and Sam Altman and all of these other people that are worth billions. And you go, well, I can do that. Okay, but for every one of those, there were thousands that didn't make a dime. Right, lost their time. So be willing and ready to fail, but get back up. So fail fast, get back up. Every company I've had, the original business model was a complete disaster, even though it seemed so good. And it took 4 or 5 iterations on that to finally get something that clicked and had the right product market fit. So you got to be ready for that. And lastly, look, you've got to build a moat around what you're doing, or else 100 other people are going to do it. And so it really doesn't matter if you're a dry cleaner, or you're a software company, or a hardware company, or you're a services company, or plumbing, whatever. You have to have something that differentiates you so that people want to call you, and they have to find you, right? And I'm sure we'll talk about marketing and sales and all those things. So you have to be ready to do that. Anyone I hire, I say, you're coming into this company that has, let's say, 50 people in it right now. You know that there will be weeks where we need you for 100 hours a week. There'll be other weeks where maybe it's as little as 45 or 50. And some people in the interview, they go, oh, this isn't for me. Great. We have sorted that out right now. You should not be in this kind of company, right? But entrepreneurs, it's your company. You're doing 100-hour weeks for a while, and probably for no pay. Are you willing and ready to do that? Do you want to walk through that brick wall that everyone says is impossible? Well, that's impossible to make something like that. It's impossible to sell something so cheap. But are you willing and ready to do that? Well, no, that'd be too hard. Don't do it. It's not for you. Go work for someone. That's okay too. Does that answer the question?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, I'm hearing, make sure that you have your unique value proposition. Don't just start, you want to be passionate about your business, obviously, but don't just start something because you think it's cool. There has to be a real product market fit for it, so that you can build that moat and be prepared that whatever you have in your head might not be what you ultimately end up with. So then that obviously speaks to make sure that you have the financial capacity behind you so that you can
Yep.
afford to pivot and not run out of cash and fail as business owners do.
I'm going to add some detail to both of those. On the first point, which is an excellent point. Most of the time, I don't want to say most of the time, much of the time, I see founders who've created an absolutely amazing service or product or offering or whatever it is, for which there is no pain point that anyone will pay for. It is a solution looking for a problem. And they think it's the coolest thing. It's a juicer that goes on the counter, except it doesn't juice real fruit. It just squeezes bags of condensed fruit juice into things nobody needs it. There's unlimited juice at the store behind me, unlimited, including fresh and frozen and everything. No, there's no pain point. So you need to solve a pain point for someone who can afford to pay you. I always say it'd be great to solve world hunger, and that's great for the Gates Foundation to do. It's not a good startup play because the reason there is world hunger is people can't afford the food. They can't afford it. So you can't solve that, right? That's great for an NGO to go solve. And then the second, the second thing that you were mentioning, let's see, the first part was that. What was the second thing? Sorry.
Having your unique value proposition.
Oh, yeah. Unique value proposition.
Having the cash behind you.
Having the cash behind you. I'll just ask you the question. What is the one reason a startup fails?
Running out of money.
That's it. It's the only one. It's the only one. People always say product market fit. No, you paid too much. You paid too little. The wrong people. No. You just ran out of money. That's why you closed the doors. Why? I can't pay payroll anymore. I closed the doors. Why? Ran out of money. Time is your enemy. And that's a real problem. People don't understand that. So when I'm running a startup level business and I say, look, we got to have an answer this afternoon. So go figure it out and let's do it this afternoon. Well, that's just, some people, that's just not fair. That's too hard. It'll take a week. No. We're burning $50,000 a day. Every day that goes by, or 10,000 or 5,000, whatever the number is, right? Every day that goes by is another 50 grand we don't have for the end game. So we can't afford to wait. We're going to have to make the best decision we can based on the data we have and be willing to pivot when we have new data. But not making a decision is death to a startup. And if you're the kind of entrepreneur, I hope you're not, but if you're the kind of entrepreneur that goes, well, I need to strategize carefully and do more research, you're not going to make it, right? Take in the data, make a decision, move forward, be willing to pivot and ready to pivot when better data comes in. But you got to keep moving forward because every day you burn money and the money isn't endless.
Well, and instilling that culture in your team as well, because, like you said, if you're hiring people that aren't willing to put in the work and move on a dime and just have that that general passion for speed and as Amazon calls it, a bias for action, then
yes.
You're going to miss because the entrepreneur is just going to end up frustrated because they're the only one that's like literally burning the midnight oil and the 2 a.m. oil and and it's crickets on their team. So they got to be really, really careful.
Yeah, wrong team.
Oh, yeah.
Wrong team. It's very easy to hire the wrong team. It's really, really difficult to hire the right one. Second is just assume you can, let me rephrase it. You cannot assume that you're the best hiring manager on the entire planet and you got them all right. That's impossible. Maybe you got a third right and 2/3 wrong, and you also need to pivot from them and you need to do it quickly, right? Because you're burning money on people that aren't going to deliver. I know they delivered in the interview. People sell themselves well. I know that when you call their references, they were excellent. I know that in this other job, they did a great job. But in this one, if they show any inkling of they can't keep that pace, or they can't make decisions like that, or they can't be on top of it, they're just not meant for this business. That's okay. Not everyone is meant for it. And that's why always in hiring, I just tell them there'll be 100-hour weeks. And usually that people go, oh, well, not for me. Great. I wanted to find that out now. They're not going to be every week, but some weeks it's going to be hard. And other weeks we're going to be able to, step back a little bit. Just depends on what's going on. And are you ready to have product problems every day? Every day. You're going to hear some customer complaining and some customer churn. Why? Because it's a startup. By the way, large companies have product problems every day. General Motors has product problems every day, including recalls. Do not think that your little startup with 22 people is somehow not going to have product problems. You are. Or service problems, or quality problems, or whatever it is, or just customer support problems. And yours are going to be much worse than a large company, and you have no team to deal with them. And so, can you actually accept the hurt? That customer that you worked so hard to get a year ago is not renewing. And they're not renewing because 3 months ago they needed X and you didn't deliver it. And you go, well, wait, they made their decision. They moved on. You lose. And that's going to hurt. Not just financially, it just hurts personally but you can't keep them all. It's impossible. You don't have enough, you just don't have, right? So you better be ready for all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to feel like whack-a-mole sometimes, probably every day.
Every day. By the way, as CEO, the happy customers never get to your desk, but the unhappy ones do. And so you sit there and you think everyone must be unhappy. No, but the ones on your desk are unhappy, and they got so unhappy, they're now on the CEO's desk to try to save it, but it's probably too late because your people probably didn't do what was needed to be done. And by the way, it's really hard to find people who would turn on a dime. And, Sam Walton says, right, the real head of the company is the customer, not you, because it's the customer that can fire you by taking their business elsewhere. And when you realize the customer runs the company at some level, you go, okay, I have to turn on a dime. When they say, listen, this isn't working right, you go, I'll fix it in 24 hours. How do you take an entire company and say, how do we respond as a company to that customer so that we've closed this gap in 24 hours? That's what we do at my companies. You get 24 hours. And when I found people that can't work at that 24-hour pace, it's okay. They can now work somewhere else. Doesn't work for me. Because that's what it takes to make the customer happy. That's the customer expectation.
Absolutely. That's a great piece of advice. I hope everyone is really taking a moment to let that sink in. So we're talking about how many startups fail, how many businesses fail. If it wasn't challenging enough before, now we've got AI and we've got the threat of, some guy in his basement starting a company that does what you do with a bunch of agents and no people. And you're very heavy into tech. You've led innovations from AI to energy efficiency to automation. So where do you see AI fitting best in the day-to-day operations of SMB today?
Yeah, so we've already seen the first one-person company, one person and AI, get sold for $80 million. It just started a year ago. So we're going to see more of that. And I am sure we're going to see the AI billionaire, meaning that it's one person in their basement and they get sold for $1 billion and they never raised any money and they did it all with themselves and AI. Now, the truth is with agents aren't exactly as easy as everyone says and aren't exactly ready for prime time all the time. And that's because we want agents to interface with the rest of the world and the rest of our systems, and they don't do that as cleanly and as perfectly as we would like. They do it 70% of the time right and other times not right, and they don't always make the right decisions. And this takes a lot of thoughtfulness around setting up the guideposts for decisions, right? And the guardrails for decisions. So look, everybody's playing with agents. And I just read, I think it was Gartner who said, I think 70% of agent efforts at all companies in the United States will be abandoned in the next year because the results of increasing productivity aren't there, and they kind of go off and do things that you didn't expect them to do and make decisions the wrong way. You have to undo them. And look, this is a child, and you're taking a child that doesn't know your systems and you're saying, make some decisions for me. and keep me out of the loop. Now, keeping me in the loop is fine, but take me out of the loop, I don't know. So they erase some emails that turned out to be absolutely critical to you that you can no longer find. Well, that's not helpful. That's a pain, right? And so, it can unravel any of the value of productivity that you could see. That said, I invented the virtual assistant back in the late 90s. So most people know me as the father of the AI virtual assistant, right? And voice user interface, voice AI and all of that. So I've been working in this field now for 30 plus years. And we've made terrific advances, but almost always we talk about those advances far better than they actually are right now. So you could build an AI only company for sure, and someone's going to do that, and it's going to be worth $1 billion. You have to assume in your company, your startup, that if everyone isn't using AI in some way for sales training, for sales outreach, for all of your marketing, for all your content development, all of it, for summarizing every meeting. I think we have 3 or 4 possibly right now, AI summary things in this meeting, the two of us. Some showed up from my side. So I don't know how to stop some of them. So I don't care, right?
I fired some of them and they keep showing up.
I know I fire some and they keep showing up. They won't go away. So we're all using these things, but we all need to use it more. I use AI for virtually everything I do, virtually everything I write, virtually everything I ideate around, virtually everything that I want rewritten. I mean, everything, right? Everything. And I don't take all of it, but it gives me more ideas. And it's made me sharper, not less sharp. The reason is I'm producing 10 times the amount of content I used to produce. And I have to read it all, and I have to edit it all, and I have to redo some of it, and all of the things you would think, right? And also, I tend to write a good part of the content out and then submit it to, say, a GPT-4o or another model and say, rewrite this in the style of, or targeting a particular audience. And that's actually quite valuable because I'm not an English major, and it is, right? So we're training all our salespeople with this, and our salespeople have to go through training and talk to AI as a customer, and then AI scores them on how they handle objections and things like that. Why wouldn't you do that with your salespeople? You can train up a system in a few hours, and after that, sales has got to go and get 100 on the darn thing, right? All your marketing content, but you can also, generate your ads this way and compare your ads to other ads, right? On whether it's Google or LinkedIn or whatever your target is. So virtually everything you're going to do in business, including analyzing your finances. Here's the spreadsheet. Tell me what's working and what isn't working in this business. Boom. Just to get another idea, just get another input. Wow, my CFO didn't tell me that we're spending too much over here on janitorial services. I wonder why that is, right? I'm just making it up, but you can get that kind of analysis out of the models today. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you create your entire TV commercial with AI? You should. You don't need to spend $50,000 on that shoot, or $100,000 or $1 million. You can spend $10.
Well, and it's I think we should dive into that point a little bit more, because I think a lot of they hear AI and they're thinking of chatbots or ChatGPT, or they think of, they focus on content generation. You and I sort of dove into agents for a moment. I'm not sure that all of our listeners really understand the difference. So let's just kind of set some definitions for a moment, just so that they can understand.
So agents work on your behalf. You, I'll say program them, but they don't all need programming. Most of this is just English only, but you set up a set of rules, and you're still using a large language model basically to do this. And then you have them interface with your applications, desktop, backend applications, whatever they are, even potentially interface with the outside world, even make calls on your behalf, right? And send them to make decisions based on the data that they're getting, right? That's a real agent that can make its own decisions based on a set of, thoughtful rules that you've given it. So it's as if you had an employee, right? As if you had an employee. And they can do pretty much anything an employee would do, except in the physical world, but anything else, right? And so you say, well, what are the tasks that I'd want an employee to do? Well, I'd want an employee, I'm making it up, to read all of my emails as they come in and sort ones that absolutely need my attention and flag them or star them or something else, right? Maybe send them to me as a text so that I'm notified right away. If I get an email from X, Y, and Z people, I want that as a text, forwarded as a text to me. Things like that. You can actually have them interact with a variety of applications, right? And they will. They're not perfect, but it is like having another employee for almost free, for $20 a month or something, right? That's pretty interesting. Again, your employee wouldn't be perfect either.
Yeah.
So
you got to train them. You have to,
right.
Like,
Same thing.
Feedback.
Same thing. But what a fascinating tool that we all can get to use now, right? That we haven't had in the past. And so people are building companies with agents. People are using Copilot and Gemini and other coding tools to code. And now we can basically code basic things in English. So I can create a website pretty quickly now just in English by talking to the darn thing, right? I can have agents answer my phone. I can have agents call out for me. I can have an agent, in theory, go find me a plumber that's available this afternoon and make all the calls. I mean, these are all really interesting, right? Really, really interesting things that we couldn't do a few years ago. Now, the truth is, I could do them in the 90s because at General Magic, we had our artificial assistants and agents. We invented the concept of agents. So we had agents doing these things, and she would answer your calls and do certain things with them based on a set of rules and make decisions based on who called and things like that. But that required programming and it required some real thoughtfulness. But now almost anyone can use this stuff because it's in English.
Yeah, that's what's really exciting. So, do you see AI as the first true leveling force between SMBs who want to outmaneuver large incumbents? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, that was the internet first, if you think about it, right? All of a sudden, well, look, Amazon outplayed Sears, Kmart, JCPenney, and virtually everyone else. Virtually everyone else outplayed it because of the internet. And AI, they used AI before there was Gen AI to understand what buying habits were and such. And they used robotics in their warehouses now for about 15 years. They're about to cross the threshold of having more robots in warehouses than people. It's fascinating, right? So we've seen this, and there was lots of disruption with the internet. Before the internet, a dating service was local. Literally, you went to someone in an office, and hopefully someone else would eventually walk in that might interest you, and they would match it by hand, right? And then Match.com and all of these other services showed up, and all of a sudden dating was on the web, right? So the web and the internet really disrupted so many businesses, including very large businesses, including the entire newspaper world, including the world of broadcast. You have a podcast. You don't need to own or be on a radio network because you have a radio network. For a few $100s, you can broadcast to 1 billion people if they want to hear it. Mr. Beast is 65 million people a week or something. He's doing fine, right? So the internet was first, then smartphones, same thing. We saw the same thing, right? Smartphones disrupted all kinds of industries because all of a sudden you could do something on your phone that you didn't need to do somewhere else. I could cash checks on my phone. I didn't need the ATM, and I didn't need people behind a desk at the bank. And now if you go in, there's generally 1 to 0 tellers. I was in a bank the other day. There's no teller stations at all. There is a human up front. And if you need to do something with cash, they can go somewhere and make it happen for you. There's no tellers in the bank. It's really fascinating. Now we've got AI. It's another 10, 20 years, right? And we've got AI. And Gen AI is disrupting every industry and everything we do in every industry, right? So it's disrupting marketing, it's disrupting sales, it's disrupting sales training, it's disrupting customer support. I don't need people to do customer support, right? It's disrupting podcasting. Why would I need people to do customer support when I can have an AI assistant answer the phone, literally answer the phone, and say, hi, this is the support agent for, and I can answer all of your questions, and it's been trained on all your FAQs, and it knows how to answer the questions. And I will tell you, the data show that these agents are outperforming humans. Now, it doesn't say the humans calling always want the AI agent because they think like it's going to be old style and it's not going to be able to do anything. But in fact, they've been fully trained. They're also reducing the number of callbacks, and they've reduced the overall time to solve a problem by like 75%. The numbers are clear, okay? And it cuts the cost of a call center by, 90 something percent. So there are jobs that are going to go away. There's a lot of tasks that are going to go away. And in the meantime, there's new jobs, because now someone, when you program agents, has to manage the agents and make sure they're doing the right things and check the security of the agents. And all of a sudden, there's a whole new field around managing AI agents, which nobody used to have that job because we didn't have AI agents. So it's a great time.
Processes and trying to figure out, where could you apply an agent if you're trying to incorporate that into your business. So
right.
What are some, do you feel, untapped or underutilized use cases where, let's just take a service business. So you talked about, using AI to find a local plumber. So let's say you are the local plumber. How do you use AI, or you're the local?
Well,
use AI
great question. Great question. So the first thing is that, we've had search engine marketing and search engine optimization, all of that for a long time. But now many people are getting their information directly from ChatGPT, let's say, or Gemini or something else. So if you are the local plumber and you want people to find you, just marketing on Google or moving your way up on Google isn't going to help you, because how do you get ChatGPT to say, oh, you're in this city in Kansas, this is the best plumber, I want the best plumber, boom, right? So that's a whole new field, and it's being worked. No one has all the answers yet, but it's being worked right now on how to get these AI models to say that you're the best anything, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing is, look, you should, even as a plumber, you could begin to think about, how do I leverage AI possibly for scheduling my people and scheduling them better? How can I use AI to train my people? How can I use AI in the field? Because my people can't know everything, but they can have an AI next to them that helps them debug a problem. Even with pictures, I can take a picture of a part, upload it. It tells me what the part is and where I can get it, even though or I can learn how to, fix this water heater, right? Which I've never had to fix before, but now I have to, right? So lots of things that we used to carry manuals around and books of manuals, you don't have to do anymore. In fact, AI will help you fix the problem and fix it faster. And arguably, it might even help you ahead of time, where the customer could send you pictures and a description of the problem, and you could show up with the right parts. You can't carry every part. So there's lots of ways you could use AI. And the obvious ones, obviously, is marketing, all your marketing content. You do want to market. So, I want AI to help me generate that, including generating the images and generating it. You can upload your competitors' ads and say, I want an ad better than this that will attract more eyeballs, and I want the colors to be so bright that people click on mine, or whatever it is, right? So you don't have to be an artist anymore, because I can generate art. With all due respect to real artists, I can generate any art I want. I don't need to know Illustrator or Photoshop.
Yeah, absolutely. And, even, so plumbers is kind of one end of the spectrum, but, AI, as is even being used to help physicians with diagnoses. I mean, it's really, because it's
absolutely
instant access to limitless data.
Yeah, well, all of our models now have been trained on about 1 trillion. All the big models call it 1 trillion phrases, right? 1 trillion tokens, and so they've read everything we've written, and they're not always going to be right, but they'll actually be more right than any human. Is how you have to measure it, right? So people get very mad. I can't believe it. It gave me this case number and that doesn't exist, or it told me I must be having a heart attack and that isn't right. Okay. It is still probably more accurate than any human on earth, right? Its IQ is above any human in almost every subject. So I always look at these as one idea, right? One opinion. Clearly, if you've got cancer, you want multiple opinions. For sure, one of the opinions I would get anytime is 2 or 3 AI models. Here's the symptoms. Here's the blood work. Here's what it shows. And by the way, what are some of the opportunities to treat this? Are there new opportunities? Are there new case studies? Are there whatever, right? Of course, I want my doctor's opinion, right? But I want to take all of that in. And I know a lot of people listening to this are going to say, because I talk to people all the time, no, I simply listen to what my doctor says because he or she knows. They certainly knew what they knew in 1982 when they graduated. I can guarantee you. But that may be the last major study they read because they don't have time. They're treating patients, right? So, that is one data point, and you want as many other data points as you can to make a decision on your life, on your health, right? So I encourage people, just as I would have encouraged you to go to the library and read up on it. AI is short circuiting that and allowing you to get answers really fast, and not all will be right, but all are interesting to ponder.
Oh, 100%. I used AI to find my spine surgeon, and as crazy as that sounds, and there's particular procedures that no one had talked to me about, and then
Right.
this procedure, I found somebody who was leading in the field in that procedure, and it at least gives you the questions to ask. If you
Yes.
want to talk to your regular doctor, then
Yes.
that's the whatabouts.
Well, for example, I'll give you an example. So my wife is on several boards, and one of them is of a company that has solved cancer in a very, very unique way, and it when it works, which is most of the time, there's no cancer left like within a week, and it's non-invasive. It's all outside the body. And it works, and it sounds like a miracle. And I won't get on this show how it works. It works with ultrasound and highly intense, focused ultrasonic waves that now I'm going to tell you, right, that break apart a tumor but don't really kill it, but they break it so that your immune system can not only find that, but identify the other ones that are in your body that are similar and kills them all. So this is unbelievable, right? Still, only a few handful of cancer centers in the United States, and only United States right now, have these machines. They're big, they're expensive. It's not new, it's FDA approved, but it's, call it a couple of years old. And most cancer centers don't have them. And most oncologists do not know about it. Why? Unless you've read the latest research or you work for one of those cancer centers, you will never get one in your office. You can't afford it, or it's never going to happen. So either they don't know, or even if they know, it's not something they can do. And they're not going to recommend it, right? Even though in certain cancers, the cure rate, that's a very strong word to use, but is incredible. It's a miracle. People walk out and they go, "This is a miracle." I'm on the golf course, and they go back a week later and they go, it's all gone. And they go, it's a miracle. It's a miracle. Yet most oncologists do not know about it, and there'd be no way to know. But you could do your own research, which through Google would be very hard, but through AI would be quite easy. Are there other procedures that could help me with my liver cancer or my kidney cancer or my pancreatic cancer or whatever? What are the newer procedures? Where are they available, right? And all of a sudden you walk in with a plethora of knowledge that you can have a legitimate conversation, right? And you can even ask it, where are the centers that are doing this? Because then you can go to one of them and have a conversation there, and you can make your own decision. Do you want to go to, your oncologist, who's a very nice guy, but has no access to this technology, or do I want the latest technology? By the way, what do I have to lose? It's non-invasive. Doesn't work. It doesn't work. It does work, but so why not get smart? And look, I think that the AI powered doctor's office is a given in the next few years. I can't imagine a doctor's office that I would want to go to where I don't walk in and put everything into the AI first, everything. And it says, go do these blood tests, go do this, take this. And it informs the doctor, here's the things we should be looking at. And by the way, it asks me, did you happen to go to Nigeria lately? I didn't, but yes, I was there 3 months ago. Okay, the chance of having this worm in your brain is way higher, knowing that you went to Nigeria. Now, your doctor would, no way, I'm never going to ask that, right?
That's what AI really excels at so well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the applications are really exciting, but if you're an entrepreneur and you're not a programmer, and I know you said we can use like English language, but
it's all English.
Getting from where you are now, and I mean, you and I kind of come from a tech background, so we have sort of like the way that we approach problem solving might be a little bit more, breaking it down into pieces that you can, talk to the AI. But let's say that's not your talent and you don't have the tech talent on your team? Like, how would you recommend to someone who is, they're listening, they've got the message, but they just don't know how to start? How do you start experimenting with AI driven?
Well, so look, the easiest place is start with Gen AI, get a subscription to a GPT-4o. It's $20 a month, I think, and stop playing and start using it. Literally use it. I have to write a reply in text. I have to write a reply in email. I have to deal with this customer. I have to handle this problem at home. I have to look at the, whatever. Use it for everything, and you will get good at figuring out how to get what you want from these technologies. But nobody can really teach you because you don't have time, but the way you learn is start doing real work. And I in all of my keynote talks, I always say, stop playing, because I say, raise your hand if you played with, LLMs or ChatGPT. Everybody raises their hands. Now, raise your hand if you do real work with it every hour of every day. 3 hands go up. I go, okay, but your competitors are, or just assume they are, and they're going to fly by you if you're not. So you do everything. You don't go out to that artist and have them draw a new ad for you. You learn how to get GPT-4o to draw your ads and create 20 different ones. You don't go out to the photographer and get a new headshot. You give the system 10 headshots and say, make me 20 more where I'm in different outfits at different angles in different places. Boom, there they are, right? So, and there's specialized models that do this, etc. But the point is, do everything with AI by your side. And within 2 or 3 or 4 weeks, you will be an expert, and it will change your life, and it changes your business. And then you're going to look around and say, if anyone here is not using this every single day and every hour, I don't want you here. Give you an example. Excel spreadsheet comes out in the late 80s, right? After that, if I caught anyone with a pencil doing long division, it was probably their last day. I mean, how could you continue to work? I'm not paying someone to do that work. There's a machine that does this. We don't do math, is the truth, because we have machines that have done math now for a good 30 to 40 years, right? Doing calculators in Excel and other programs and Quicken and QuickBase and everything else. So it's really fascinating that that when people now look at these, they're afraid to use it, or they're, people were afraid to use Excel if you were in finance, but in the end, you either used it or got fired. That was it. There was no choice, right? Can you imagine still doing ledger books with pencil? No.
What's really cool is that, when you think of the example of Excel, like Excel couldn't teach you how to use it, but the LLMs can. You just,
Yes.
Because people talk about, I have to be a good prompt engineer. Just ask it. Have I missed anything? Is there anything else you need to know? I mean,
yes, that's right. Are there other things? Sometimes I give an idea and I say, poke holes in this idea. Tell me why this may not work. Tell me why this is a bad idea. Give me a better idea than the one I've had. Help me create a prompt that will do the following. It'll give you a prompt for itself. You go, wow, that is crazy. Now, look, I'm using Suno to create music. I'm using Veo 3 to generate video. I use mostly GPT-4o to generate images, because the images are very good, and the text now is correct in the images as of just a month ago or so. So again, there's just nothing you can't do without it by your side, and you will be 10 to 100 times smarter because we're amplifying your brain. We didn't take anything away from your brain. Remember, you kicked it off, right? You said, I need the following. I want it this way. So you decided what you're going to do, what you need, how you want it. You're going to take some of these ideas. You're going to regurgitate them a few times. It's 100 brain power. It's 100 Kevins, which might be scary for some people. I get that. Or 100 Dianes, right? I mean, this is the pot. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, no, it's pretty incredible. So, you obviously have a history of tapping into unsolved problems, applying technology, and building innovative businesses. So what industries or roles do you think are really ripe for disruption these days through smart automation or AI first thinking right now?
Disruption as in that industry will be gone, or if you use it in that industry, you can change the industry?
Well, I think it'll probably change every industry, arguably.
Of course it does. Yes.
Are there some, it could either be a dinosaur industry or yeah, it could be one that, you think might be
Well, Again, it's everything. It's manufacturing with vision systems that can find problems and make improvements on the line that humans could never see, right? So I can go all the way to manufacturing. I can look at anything that's in print, anything that we put on the web, any content obviously is being disrupted. There's no question. Why would anyone write anything, without it? Patents, writing patents. Of course, I'm going to have a model take a look and see, are there other claims I didn't think of, right? Are there claims I didn't think of? Why wouldn't I do that? Poke holes in my thinking, right? So when you look at, plumber, dry cleaner, etc., I mean, I have, but here's the answer. Go to GPT-4o and say, I am a plumber. I am in Kansas. This is what I do every day. How can AI help disrupt my business in a positive way where I make 50% more at the end of the year than I did last year? Ask it. It will tell you. It'll say, great. Boom, 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 boom. And you go, 2 of those I thought of and the other 5 I didn't. This is amazing. That's what's going to happen.
So what's interesting is the examples that you're giving of how you're really using AI every day, they go far beyond what I think a lot of traditional use cases are, and they're really using AI as your strategic sidekick. And
yes, exactly.
Smaller portion of the market right now. People, I don't think entrepreneurs are taking sufficient advantage of that, especially because you run a company, you're at the top, you kind of have nobody else to bounce ideas off of, and now you do.
To use, hang on, we're going to do this. I want to use ChatGPT.
Doing this live, people.
Yeah, I'm doing it live for a reason, right? And Gen AI to improve my profits. What are 10 ways you can help you, the model? All right. I'm a plumber and I want to use ChatGPT and Gen AI to improve my profits. What are 10 ways you can help? Automate customer communication, create instant responses for FAQs, including pricing, service hours, and everything else. Build AI-powered text email replies for appointment confirmations and quotes, right? Write job quotes and invoices faster. I'm going to read them quickly. I won't read all the details. Supercharge marketing without hiring a marketer, right? Write Google and Facebook ads that actually convert. Get more reviews. Draft automated polite text emails asking satisfied customers for Google and Yelp reviews, and they keep following up. Build a lead capturing website page, which you can have AI build for you. Optimize scheduling and routing. Target the right neighborhoods. That's interesting. Raise prices the smart way. Document and upsell services and train new helpers faster.
And what's interesting, I bet at the bottom of that prompt it said, would you like me to dive into any of these points and give you a detailed plan?
Yes, that is exactly right. If you tell me more about your business, how your business works, like whether you work alone or with a team and what services you offer, I can tailor this list further or even set up templates you can use. Want help with one of those right now? Okay, look.
There you go.
Every business can be disrupted, and you can ask the model how it would help you disrupt your business. And if you didn't, Mr. Plumber or Ms. Plumber, it's okay. The one down the street did.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you are a small business, what do you feel is more important, training your current team to use AI tools or hiring AI savvy talent?
No. Well, what is AI savvy talent? Today they have, a year of experience or something, and probably they just graduated from college. So I will tell you, the kids graduated from college for the most part. They're really good at this. They have figured it out. Yes, they probably cheated, quote unquote, right? I kind of don't care because
press on that now is, college students can't think anymore, but
yeah, I mean, look, my view is that we as employers want to hire kids that have very strong AI skills and Gen AI skills. I want them to have other skills too. I want them to be able to think, but yeah, I did. So I saw the MIT study that says, oh, kids can't think, except they had them use ChatGPT specifically in a very specific way, which was basically to cheat. Just say, write this paper for me, write this paper for me. Okay. There's another study that said, I'm not going to use it for that. What I'm going to do is write out a paper and then submit it and improve my paper and then come back and also tell me where I was wrong. So use it as an ideator and use it to help improve what you've done. But you don't just hand off stuff. I don't hand off stuff that says just go do this, right? So it's all how you use it. And by the way, that study showed that people got smarter and more articulate by using the models to help them and to help ideate and help to poke holes in their things and help to rewrite, as opposed to those who just shove stuff there and said, do my homework for me. So if you want to use it to do your homework for you, you're not going to get very smart. I don't think it's a university problem because the instructors are getting smarter and going back to blue books and making you write in class, or having each person stand up and say, defend your paper, defend your work, tell me why it's right or wrong, tell me how you came to that conclusion. If they go blah, 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 F, right? Also move back to a time. I mean, there was a time when I went to school, we didn't get graded on homework. You had to do it and you just got a check box, but you didn't get graded on it. You got graded on your tests, and there may only be 4 tests, right? So I don't care how they learned as long as they get 100 on the test, right? And so it will show me if they learned or not. So I don't care about, stop grading the homework. Just do a check box, or don't care about the homework. Do it, don't do it, not my problem. I'm giving you homework so you can hone your skills. If you're a genius, you don't need to hone them. I don't care. My job is to make sure that you know these things when you leave this class. And so I'm going to test you on those at the end of the semester, right? And you either know them or you don't. You know how to do these problems. And, you know, when you're doing problems in class, you are doing them with a pencil. Maybe you have a calculator, right? But you actually have to work through the problem set, whether it's math or some other problem or the word problems or whatever. So anyway, or it says, write what you know about the following. You go, I didn't pay any attention. I had ChatGPT to it. Okay, well, then you're going to fail. So I'm not worried about it at all. But I do want to hire kids with coming out of college that have real Gen AI skills. And in fact, I want them to come to me and say, hey, did you ever know about this tool, this tool, this tool? I said, I've never heard of them. Great. You're the person I want to hire.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it shows they're interested, they're reading up on the domain. I think that's really important.
Right.
So where do you, some entrepreneurs I speak with are worried about, how do you draw the line between the human touch and automation? And I know that this has been an age-old challenge, but what's your take on that?
Who cares?
Well, think about let's talk about the sales funnel then. So you were talking about basically automating sales, automating certain, at what point do you feel like humans actually have to talk to humans to
depends on what the sale is, right? So if it's a $250,000 sale to a business, you should go visit that business, and humans want to talk to humans. If it's a $5 sale, no human can afford to be involved. So decide where your cut is, right? And so, even if you're selling plumbing and you're gonna, and your average thing at a customer at home is, $300 or $400 or $500, that can all be AI. If they need to talk to you, they are taking you away from a job and you're not making any money to talk to them. So I think those kinds of things can all be done with AI today and be done really well, because with RAG, we can train our AI. We train AI very easily to even talk in your voice, even talk with your voice, literally sounds like you, looks like you. I have an avatar that's a 2-way interactive avatar. It's on my website, kevinsurace.com. And see, I got that in there. We'll get it in there later. But you can go there, go to the bottom of the page, go to the video avatar. I will come up and I'll be looking at you. And you'll say, hey, here's what you can do. You say, hi, Kevin. I want to talk about AI, or I want to talk about the Joy Success, or whatever it is. I'll talk about it. I want to talk about cybersecurity. Or you can say, hey, Kevin, it's so nice to talk to you. Where am I and what's behind me? And it can see, and it will tell you what's behind you. I see a radio, and I see a picture, and I see some patents, and I see it looks like you must be a collector or something. And you go, wow, this is mind blowing, right? So I encourage people to go try that technology. It's really quite amazing. And I've trained it on all of my writing, all my podcasts and other things.
That's really cool. And have you, is that a custom coded avatar that you have, or is it something that is somebody could
off the shelf? It's from a company called Delphi, and anyone can go. You can go today and build your avatar. It's not free. There is an upfront charge to build it out, but by tomorrow you'll have one, and you can train it on everything you've written in your voice. And it will not only speak in your voice, it'll not only sound like you, but it learns from all of the material that you've given it, right?
Yeah, no, that's cool. I have an avatar. I just have to tell it what to say. So I think that's like avatar to the next level.
Oh yeah, I don't have to tell it what to say. I mean, literally, it trained on my stuff. But if you go and ask it like the meaning of life, it might say, well, I don't really know about that. Would you like to ask me questions about AI or cybersecurity? It comes back to. But you could try. You could try to stump it. It'll. Someone asked it to sing, and it's not taught to sing, so it kind of rapped it, and it did it anyway. Make up a song about app fans. App fans is cool. It's really cool. And it is shaking its head and doing its thing. You're, oh, this is terrible.
Awesome.
But hey, that's where we are, and I always like to tap into the state of the art.
So are there any, that's kind of one interesting example. Are there any other kind of under the radar game changers that you're seeing out there with AI that we should keep an eye on?
Well, AI backed chatbots that are just text on a website is fabulous, right? It is fabulous that anyone can put that on their website with their webmaster today. You get one that's LLM backed, and it will answer all the questions about your business. It can tie into the business calendar, so it can look and say, yes, I can get someone out there this afternoon, and it can schedule someone and automate it. I mean, this is the kind of agent kind of thing that you can do. Why would you want people tied up in doing that, even if you're a plumber or a dry cleaner or HVAC or electrical or whatever, right? These are the kinds of things that can make your business 30, 40, 50% more productive and cost, $30 a month. You go, that's the best $30 you've ever spent. So there's just no business today that I can think of that would not be improved leveraging AI. I'm looking at beautiful trees out here. Even if I was a tree service, I can use AI to look at the leaves, look at the disease that's on there, and recommend how I treat that, because I just can't know everything in my head. And anything.
Absolutely. Well, so let's the other side of AI is the whole privacy and security aspect. So talk to me about that.
Well, look, if you're using a public model, don't put really private things out there. Okay, if you're using a public model, but if you're using a private model or something that's privatized to you, you can use it all you want. So, I don't have any worries about privacy or security because I don't put anything on a public model that if someone saw, they would go, "Oh, the secrets have been revealed," right? That shouldn't happen anyway. But if it did, there's nothing I'm putting out there that I would consider to so if you have this thing make ads for you, for example, that you're going to run on Facebook because you are a plumber, right? Let's say you did that, and someone hacks into the thing and finds your ads. Big deal. They can see them on Facebook. It doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter, right? As I've said since we had the internet. What's that?
Maybe take your name off of your financial statements, though.
Take your name off your financial statements. Oh, look, as I've said since we've had the internet, if you just bear with me here, you'll understand. If you take pictures of yourself naked and put them somewhere on the web, someday everyone will see them. So don't do that. And, you see celebrities and stuff that are horrified. I can't believe it leaked. Have you not noticed since 1995 that eventually these things can become public? So don't do stupid things, right? Just don't do stupid things. I remember people being worried when we found out that technically the FBI or CIA or whatever could tap phones, and maybe in case I said, you know what, I think they tapped mine one time. They listened to me talking. They hung up. It was so boring. I don't have anything interesting to say that the FBI would care about, right? So if you don't have anything interesting to say that the FBI is going to care about, or that someone else is going to, don't worry about it. But don't put highly competitive things that if somehow it got out in the public, that it would be a problem, right? So just be thoughtful about what we write down and the pictures we take and the things we do, because those things could be public. Again, you can have privatized models and none of that would be public, and it can be highly private. Still, maybe a hacker could get in, but I mean, OpenAI isn't going to share them. Microsoft's not going to share them, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So Kevin, I know you're writing a book, The Joy Success Cycle, I believe is the title. Tell us a little bit about what to expect when that book comes out.
It is. And people ask me, how did you end up with, I think it's 95 patents at the end of this week. There's a new one coming out. How did you do that? And how'd you do it in so many fields? And I said, well, I'm not the smartest guy on the planet, I can assure you, but I have joy in everything I do, every single thing. So when I look at AI, it's joyful. When I make my to-do list here every day and I check things off, I find the joy moment in every single one of those tasks, every single one. There's nothing that I don't want to do. So I find the joy moment. And that leads me to have this sort of very high positive quotient in my life. So I live with a rule that I'll share with your listeners and viewers right now, which is the following. First, I want everyone, this is the takeaway for the show. I want everyone to get up tomorrow morning. Count the number of negatives or complaints that you have, internal or external, throughout the day. Oh, this hurts. Oh, it's raining. Oh, the tree's dead. Oh, I've got too many things on my list. Oh, I'm never going to get to that. Oh, I got to talk to that customer. Oh, whatever it is. Okay. It's going to be 100 or so. Trust me. And maybe you're really good and it's only 80, but the number is going to shock you because every time you've spent energy on complaining internally or externally, you've hurt your ability to be successful. The most successful people are up there at a 10, and that opens their mind. And there's science behind this too, that opens their mind to find those problems and find solutions because their mind is open and ready to accept that and be curious, right? But when you're down there in the gutter and everything's negative, you have no ability to be curious. You're just trying to dig yourself out. So count the number of negatives or complaints, internal or external, right? Then the next day, you have a goal from there going forward for the rest of your life. And that goal is you get one complaint a day. Only one. I hate these kids. That was your one. Or you get out of bed and you go, oh, my knees hurt. Right? So you only get one. Now, the point of picking one, and I live with the one, by the way. I live within that. No problem. Usually it's 0, but 1. It's a way to gamify the whole thing. Because if you have that number in your mind, you're not going to be at 1 the first day. But when you hit 1, you realize that's supposed to be the last one of the day. And now all day, I got to sweep the floor. But you know what? I'm going to find joy in it. I'm going to play some music while I sweep the floor. Right? I mean, whatever it is, right? You're going to find joy in every task because you have to, because you're limited to one complaint a day. So you can't complain about any of the tasks, no matter how ugly or terrible they are. I've got to fire someone, but I already used up my complaint. So I'm going to talk to them about how this just wasn't a great fit and how letting them go is actually going to be good for them. They're going to be able to find a better fit. I'm going to find a better fit. 3 months from now, we're going to talk. You're going to be in a better place, mind-wise. Everybody's going to be happier, and we're going to part friends, right? I'm going to apply joy to that. I have to. Why? Because I already burned up the one complaint I had. I don't have any more today. So when you gamify it, it changes your life. It changes the people who want to be around you. It changes your ability to grow. It changes your ability to be curious, to solve problems. It's just a game changer. So it's a different way to live. That's what the book's about. There's 13 chapters. That's one of the chapters, but get you started.
I love that. Mindset is everything.
Mm-hmm.
So Kevin, it's been a joy talking to you today. I really enjoyed our conversation. Where can people reach out if they'd like to connect?
KevinSurace.com. That's the website, KevinSurace.com. There's stuff to do on there. And I do 30, 40 keynotes a year or so on the Joy Success Cycle and AI. And you can reach me there. I have my LinkedIn is there, and there's a form to fill out and all that stuff.
Wonderful. Excellent. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast, Kevin. I truly enjoyed it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.